Hi, and welcome to another edition of Conversations with Carol. We're here at the Edmonton Distribution Centre. My name is Marilyn Kanobel. I'm Human Resources, and I'm based here out of the Edmonton Distribution Centre. Welcome, Carol.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Great.
Lots of stuff going on around here today, so that's good news.
There is, yes, we're busy today, so that is good news. So we've got a number of questions from our employees, and the first question is, has senior management considered implementing a continuous improvement process program, such as Kaizen, that deals with logistics and purchasing and crosses all organizational boundaries? And this would touch upon our strategic imperative, operational excellence.
Yeah, Marilyn, it's a great question. We are working on continuous improvement, but we haven't really rolled out a formal program that, like Kaizen or Lean but we are working, particularly with the new system implementation over the next year. We'll have a lot more metrics on our business, but already I can tell you that across the business units, they are using those metrics and measuring our business for improvement. So it's not something that we really need it to be a program right now. It's just really getting started on measuring and using those facts to drive what we're doing. But we may get there, but just not right now.
No, it's just part of everyday business then, continuous improvement.
Pretty much.
Great, thank you. Second question, and there's a few of them that pertain to wholesale sports.
Sure.
So the first one is, what do we as employees take away from the closure of wholesale sports? What will the fallout be? Some of us have been asked, is UFA in trouble as a whole, given what's happened with other retailers such as Sears? It's a valid question.
Yeah.
So can you share your thoughts with that, please?
Sure, yeah. So, the things to take away from wholesale sports is, first, it was not a core business for UFA. Second of all, it is in a retail space that has been very challenged, and we look at Sears and you look at companies like Toys R Us, they're really struggling, and let's be honest, Amazon is making a big impact in our business, and two of our largest competitors of Cabela's and Bass Pro are in the process of merging. So that competitive environment is changing significantly. So when we think about having a business that's challenged for performance, even though we were doing a really good job running that business, it was not an attractive industry for us to participate in. And it was not core. So if you put those two things together, it was important for us to make that strategic change. The difference between what we're doing with wholesale sports and what companies like Sears are doing is Sears was basically forced into bankruptcy. At wholesale sports, we've chosen this path, and we're in charge of our destiny, and we're executing an orderly wind down and a liquidation. So we are not doing this because the banks have forced us by any shape of the term whatsoever. Our financial performance has been strong, and actually oil and gas continues to get stronger. We are exceeding plan through October, and we expect to have a strong finish to the year. So we're not doing this because it's under financial pressure for UFA. It's really about not having to divert assets to a non-core business in the future. So it's a tough decision, there's no doubt about that, but it's the right thing for us to do and really get focused on the rest of our business and grow and continue the momentum really that we have in our UFA retail business in particular.
So it leaves UFA in a sound position.
Yeah, and the great news is that the skill sets that we had in wholesale sports we're using in our UFA stores, and we can see that I think every month of the last 6 months our UFA stores have exceeded last year in plan. Mm-hmm. So those changes are making a difference in our business.
Well, and the nice thing to note too is we're able to hire some of the wholesale sports people over into UFA where we can. So we certainly have done that.
Yeah.
How will the closing of the wholesale sports affect our financials?
Well, that will be reported at the end of the year in our annual report. It will have a impact on our financials, but as we looked forward, the impact of our financials in 1 year this year would be be more favorable than what the ongoing implications of running that business was going to be, and that's what we weighed when we look at that kind of a decision. Right. It'll be a loss on our P&L, but it'll be over, I guess is the way to describe it.
Good. How do you respond to rural customers who are looking to purchase wholesale sports products in the country, but they're only available in the city?
Well, that's where our stores are based, and this also gets to the fact that wholesale sports is not a core business. Many of our members could not take advantage of the business because it was located in urban areas, and quite frankly, most of it was not even in Alberta. Right. So, hopefully over the holiday time they can find an opportunity to make it into the stores, or a friend can go by, but it is a part of the challenge. That's one of the reasons it's not attractive for us from a core business perspective.
And there are 5 stores in Alberta.
Yep, that's
that
right, yep.
all quadrants of the province that you could shop.
Yep, that's true.
Good. With the economy starting to recover and our business starting to get stronger, are we looking to fill the positions that were downsized in the downturn?
Well, I think just a few minutes ago when we were visiting with Brad, it sounds like you guys our business is picking up here, and we may be looking to hire for some additional people here in the distribution center. And I think that's the approach that we have to take, is that we can't just say we eliminated or we downsized this position 2 years ago, so now we need to replace that position. We have to look at what positions and skill sets do we need going forward, and fill those on a strategic basis. And, you know, a good example of that is what we're doing with the IT project. You know, we will be seconding or putting a number of people on that project for an extended period, and we're now backfilling those jobs. So it is a matter of making sure that we're investing that money back in the right place as it is appropriate. But we are not going to just go back and broadly refill a bunch of positions that we had.
That's to have it make sound business sense. Right.
Because our needs change over time, and so the staffing needs to reflect that.
Right. The second part of that question is, what are we doing to help employees further their career? Are we offering scholarships, etc., for those who want to move to a different role?
Yeah, I think there's a number of tools that we have, and some are internal. This week, earlier, I spoke with the second cohort from the LEAD group. So we now have a LEAD and a Develop 2 employee cohorts for development internal programs. I think you and I were talking earlier about the scholarship or the educational assistance program that UFA has. That's been in place for quite a while, and I think you have some experience with that.
Yeah, I've been fortunate in that I've been able to acquire my degree with UFA. Brad Lafreniere, has been able to acquire his designation by using the educational assistance program. So it is an excellent perk for our employees. I don't think a lot of them know about it. All the information is on Corner Post, and obviously they need to speak with their manager prior to partaking in this.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those programs where if you can show that the program that you want to participate in is in furtherance of your career and talking to your manager about what you want to do, that's a good opportunity. Yeah. The other thing is that, let's be honest, this transition and information technology project that we're undertaking is going to require people to develop new skills. And so on-the-job training is also as important, sometimes even more important than outside courses. Definitely. So I think we are really working on building a culture of where people can develop.
And on-the-job training, that is the number one way of how to learn new skills, because you're practical, you're actually applying what you're learning on the job. Yeah.
Sometimes people, I think, don't really recognize that. I've had probably in my career, some of the best learning I've had was kind of stepping into things that I didn't know what I was going to be doing, if you know what I mean.
Right in the trenches.
Yeah,
that's how you learn. Yeah, exactly. And the other piece of it too, and I know you've been asked this before, is that it's a two-way shared street to development. That employee needs to put their hand up and speak with their leader. Their leader, they can't read your mind. They don't know if you're looking for development either.
And this is the time of year that we should be doing that as we get into year end and start to talk about our performance management process and development conversations.
It's a good time of year for that. Great, thank you. The next question, as you know, we had a snowstorm in Alberta, which is quite common, recently in October, and the highway was closed. The RCMP said to not travel, and we had to send a lot of our employees home because they lived out of town. The question, of course, is that if something happened to me, it took me a lot longer to get to work than usual. If something had happened to me and basic life insurance is only $10,000, what would UFA do for my family?
Well, Marilyn, I think the first thing we want to say is that our employees' safety is really important. And the weather in Alberta obviously changes very quickly. So we need to work with local management and talk to your local management if you're concerned about that, and we need to be thoughtful. The other thing I will say is that for all of us, that when you're traveling to and from your home and wherever it is you are working, that is your personal time and your personal car insurance and medical insurance. The benefits that UFA provides covers those. If you're traveling like we did today, like I did today, coming from Calgary to Edmonton, that I'm traveling on behalf of the company, and that is a little bit different. But so I think the most important thing is for employees to make sure that they're talking with local management and making sure that they are comfortable with the personal situation. But that's the benefits that the company provides are the things that would cover if something happens to you between your workplace and when you're going to and from your home.
Right. So be prepared for winter driving,
Yep.
be safe, and talk to your manager.
Yeah, I think so.
The next question is, I'd like to shop our store, but I find it's cheaper to go to the competition, even with my employee discount. As a loyal employee, I'd like to buy more products from UFA, but financially it doesn't make sense. It's unfortunate too that because of some behavior of former employees of abusing the employee discount, that we are all punished for it. Are we re-looking at our employee discount?
We are evaluating the employee discount program again, as we should be doing on a periodic basis. We had not done it in quite some time, and as people know, and as the questioner has referenced, we did revise it last year because, quite frankly, it was not appropriate for certain things. So we are looking at it again. So I would just say stay tuned from that perspective. The other thing I would say is that we are working hard to have the right prices in the stores, and the flyer program and just the store traffic would say I think that we're doing a better job than we have been in the past in terms of being competitive on price.
Good. All right. So stay tuned.
Yep.
The last question, with the recent news of Warren Buffett acquiring Pilot Flying J, what strategy will UFA take for this external threat to our petroleum business?
Well, Flying J has been a big competitor for a long time, even before Warren Buffett owned it. And about 2 years ago, we looked at our C-store business and we said, this really is we're not big enough to be really important in the C-store business, and so we have really exited that. So I will say we will continue to compete with those Flying J locations regardless of who the owners are. I think Warren Buffett's a pretty good investor, so he will want to run those businesses in a pretty effective way, and we'll have to compete with them just like we do anybody else in the marketplace.
Right.
So, but good catch for somebody's been reading the Wall Street Journal and the Globe and Mail to catch that kind of acquisition.
Definitely, exactly. Well, that concludes our questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Carol, for being here at the Edmonton Distribution Centre. It's been a little noisy, but this is where the action happens.
Yeah, good.
And stay tuned for next conversations with Carol. Thank you.
Thanks.